Hello, my name's Ian Seeger from Pilot Career News. On the 6th and 7th of November, we held our very first virtual edition of Pilot Careers Live. We streamed over 30 different seminars with 60 speakers. There were 2 days packed full of great information. Of course, we recorded everything, and you're about to watch one of the videos from the event. Before you do, I just want to thank our sponsors, Bose, Alsim, Entro, and of course Poolies. Without them and without the exhibitors, it wouldn't be possible. The exhibitor pages are still live, so feel free to head on over there. Go to www.pilotcareerslive.com and click through to the exhibitors. There's loads of information, loads of downloads, all sorts of great stuff there for you. Anyway, enjoy the video, and if you find it useful, really appreciate it if you click subscribe on our YouTube channel. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello and welcome to this afternoon's session on pilot and cadet welfare. I'll shortly be going over to the panel for them to give their presentation, but before I do, just a quick bit of housekeeping, which I've said a few times, but I'm going to say it again. We've just had a Q&A session, and there were sadly many more questions than we had chance to get through. So if you've got those questions and you need them answered, then please pop over to one of our exhibitor stands and ask the question on the direct chat, or book yourself a Zoom call on there. There are people there who are waiting who can give you the answers. If it's an opinion on something you want and you want a second opinion, then don't forget you can ask all sorts of, you can go and ask on every exhibitor stand if you like. If it's a factual question, then everyone's answer should, in theory at least, be the same, and I'm pretty sure it will be, because they're all a bunch of professionals waiting for you. Lastly, before we move over to the presentations, I'll just thank our sponsors, Bose, Poolies, and if you use the code PCL at checkout, you get 5% off, Entro and Alsim. So thank you very much for that. Hello panel, I have Katie Broadhurst from Leading Edge Aviation Limited, Valentina Fitzpatrick and Duarte Lopez from EAWC. Hello, afternoon, how are you all?
Very good, thank you, Ian.
Excellent. So this afternoon's panel is on pilot and cadet welfare, an increasingly important and increasingly relevant issue. It's probably been important and relevant since forever, but for some reason it's gained in currency, and it's something that we will talk about an awful lot more now than we did maybe 20, 30, 40, I was going to say 50 years ago, but that I was clearly too young to remember that, for sure, as was everybody on the panel. Thank you very much. Valentina and Duarte, I believe you have a short presentation you want to deliver on this. Is that the case?
Yes, very few slides, literally.
Fantastic. Let's kick off with that. We'll bring you in after that, if that's okay.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Yay!
Over to you. Take it away.
Oh, very good. We can start now, Ian, yes?
You can start whenever you like.
Fantastic. So, first of all, it's great to be here, Ian. I'm really delighted. And I'm going to start actually by asking a simple question to the people attending to the seminar today. And the question is, how are you and how are you feeling today? So the reason why I'm asking this question, it's really because this question will become an integral part of taking and embracing a career as a pilot and as a future pilot. So you will have to learn to ask yourself this question: how am I feeling? How am I doing today on a daily basis before you're entering a crew room on the airline where you're going to operate as a pilot? So I think it's really important to revert to that question to yourself every day and ask yourself, learn to ask yourself, how am I feeling today? So by asking the question, I think it's very important to just highlight that we want to create awareness on our mind, body, and emotional aspect of lifestyle as a pilot. So basically what we're going to do, what I'm going to highlight in this conversation, it's simply talking about you as a person, you, the human aspect, not the pilot, not the skill set. I think there is better people to talk about that, but really just about you in the mind, you body, you emotion, and you social. So all of those 4 elements are the integral part of becoming a future professional aviators. So I actually want to be very synthetic into this. It's very hard to talk about well-being in such a short time. And you're probably going to think I'm going to talk about what to eat and what to drink and how to exercise and how to maintain a balanced lifestyle. But actually, no, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just purely going to base all this conversation about you as a human, operating within a very stressful work environment, within a very technical skill, very technical environment. So I brought just one slide. The slide is put you at the center of your environment. I brought a friend in there, and if you see on the left-hand side, that's Birgitta Johansen, which is a pilot and a first officer for Norwegian, and she's also a very fervid competitor in CrossFit. So the reason behind that is because I wanted to be relatable. So when we talk about well-being or being well in aviation, we're talking about integrating this very important emotional, mind, body, and social aspect within our technical skills. So it is important, your technical skill, and you're going to learn that within flying school. But it's also important to recognize how your physical, biology, biochemistry, and physiological environment is going to impact your technical skills. So I really believe in this special career. I think this is a crafted lifestyle. It's not just a job. So if you are thinking today to join the aviation industry, and if you're thinking that that's something that you want to consider as a job, then think again. Think as becoming a pilot as a lifestyle, a crafted, beautiful, wonderful, but challenging lifestyle. So you need to be prepared for that. Now, I'm coming from a flying environment. I flew for 7 years. So you probably think, why does a cabin crew talk to future pilots? But I think because we share exactly the same environment, the same ecosystem. So the fuselage environment, it's very challenging, and affect and impact on our biochemistry, on our physiology, on our mind, body, and emotion. So when we talk about mind, you need to consider thinking process. So you need to consider your rational side. So you need to look after and be aware of that. And that's why you're asking yourself the question every day. How am I feeling? When you're talking about emotion, you're considering whether you're in pain, whether you're tense, whether you're physical pain, whether you're unwell because you have a cold or a flu, but basically the physical side, the physical aspect of your lifestyle. And emotional, we're focusing on anything to do with our emotional well-being. Are we sad? Are we happy? Are we anxious about something? Are we sad because something has happened in our environment, external environment, that will have potentially an impact on our work environment? So when we talk about all of those elements, including the social aspect, we're looking for, in the social aspect, for connectivity, for validation as well. So all of those aspects, all of those spheres make you a very important individual, an important individual that will operate within a very specific environment. That's why well-being in aviation has to be specific to our very special work environment. So I would like to talk for hours about this subject because I practice it myself. I work in the aviation industry since 2007. So I know myself how important it is to stay fit, mind, body, and emotion. But it's not that easy. So you have to come back to yourself from asking yourself daily that question, how am I feeling? And you have to embrace that career as a pilot, which I really wish you the best of luck on doing that because it is a wonderful career. You have to embrace it, not just with your technical skills, which you will be required, but also with your passion, with your ideals, with your dreams. And you need to constantly educate yourself and practice well-being as an integral part of your lifestyle as a pilot. So it's not a job, it is a lifestyle, a wonderful one. And I'm saying yes to enter the industry today. I'm saying yes to becoming a pilot because it is a wonderful, crafted, and very soft career and lifestyle. But I'm just saying, enter the industry and build that daily human relationship with the choice of becoming a pilot. That is a choice that you're going to make every day. So by saying that, I'm just saying, I'm thinking about you at the center of our aviation environment. The rest, guys, we're going to learn as we go along. But I want to bring to you Captain Duarte Lopez. He's a great example of how a pilot that flew for 30 years can continue to maintain his mind, body, and emotion and social connection and remain within the industry in a state of resilience. So please just continue to place yourself at the center of our wonderful aviation industry. And Captain Duarte Lopez, that's all for you now.
Thank you. Before we go over to Captain Duarte, I wonder if we can just take a slight pause on the EAWC front and just pop briefly to the beginning of the career and talk to Katie Broadhurst from Leading Edge Aviation Limited, who take the whole wellness thing very seriously, and in your cases with regards to cadets, well, cadets and pilots, but I think pilots in this context are employed commercial pilots, so your side of the equation is really the cadet side. And I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about how Leading Edge Aviation Limited approaches that, and then we'll come back to
Sure.
Duarte a little bit later.
It's all about a personal experience. So I come from the aviation industry, I used to fly as a flight attendant. So for me, what I felt, the most fundamental part that I felt was missing within our training environment and our ecosystem, it was actually awareness about well-being, but also about guidance. How do we actually remain fit within this specific environment? Because it is very challenging. I think everyone that flew before know how hard it is to fly on a daily basis, take off, landing. And it's not just physiological difficult because a lot of things happen at physiological level, but it's also at emotional and mind level, dealing with passenger and all those sorts of things. So for me, as a cabin crew, I've discovered what actually was missing there at training level to teach and educate people on how to stay fit to fly.
Okay, so and I guess Katie, if you can tell us how that kind of how you integrate that.
I'm the Chief Talent Officer at Leading Edge Aviation, and it's absolutely my responsibility to ensure a really positive experience for our students. Wellbeing is absolutely at the centre of it, and very much in terms of all the things that Valentina has been talking about today. We want to capture that early on in the cadet experience or the student experience. So not only do we have a great team of an excellent customer experience team, but we also have a partnership with a company called WellSpace, and it's WellSpace's job to support our cadets throughout their journey within the academy, but give them the tools and the expertise really to be successful further on into their career. And we also have Monty, the company dog, who comes to all the most stressful events in the student lifespan, which is incredibly important for us. So I guess one of our key philosophies at Leading Edge is to put the student at the centre of everything we do, and just to make sure that their mental and physical well-being is key in every part of their experience with us.
And so that's great, because presumably that's kind of ingrained from the very beginning of their training. So it's not something that someone's adding on later when someone may have 20 years of stress and not well-being and they suddenly discover the pathway. This is kind of like integrating it and making it part of the whole.
That's exactly it, Ian. In fairness, it's something we talk about from day one when the student walks through the academy doors. We talk about the importance of recognising stress compared to a bit of a bad day, or how to deal with these things. What physical factors come out when we feel stress? How do we cope with exam stress? As a pilot, you're going to be tested constantly. And if you get stressed in that perspective, how does that manifest itself physically? So what are the key tools and things that you can do as an individual to help yourself? So I think the key thing that I like our students to take away, it's not what I can do for you, it's how you can help yourself. But I'm going to give you the tools and the experience to be successful, and take all those great things that you learn throughout your training with us, let them complement the academic work and the great flying that we do, but take all of those great things into the flight deck.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think that's great. And Duarte, or Captain Lopez, I wonder if you can give us some sort of practical experience day to day. How have you managed to stay mind, emotion, body, and socially well, as it were?
So, hello everybody. Thanks for inviting the European Aviation Wellbeing Committee to be here today, and thanks everybody for making time on a Saturday also. So I started preparing my career when I was 14, so a couple of years ago, and I remember the day where I decided that this is what I want to do with the rest of my life was on a was last millennium on an approach to Lisbon. It was early morning, the sun was rising, everything was nice and quiet and beautiful. And as we were gliding on a 50-ton aircraft with more than 100 people on board, and I was seeing all of that, I became hooked. And I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And fortunately, I had people to support me throughout this decision. And that's a big part of the of well-being. Connect with others, connect with those that support you. Unfortunately, my parents supported me, but they did had some non-negotiable conditions. So first, I had to finish high school with an average where I could apply to university, and I would pay for my own driver's license. They did the math, and the numbers were more or less the same. So at the age of 21, I was able to fly a 737, full 737, but I was not allowed to drive my car to the airport, so I could go and fly the airplane. Now, with this began my journey of what it is now a way of life, what it is now a lifestyle for me. And well-being made it possible in these 30 years. And there are some techniques and tips that we can apply. The other day I was reading an article in Aerotime Hub, and they listed 10 reasons why you should become a pilot. So the connection that I made there is, why don't we apply now? Why don't we become the pilot now when we are starting, when we decided, in my case, at 14, that's what I wanted to do. So the first thing they say is, nothing can top your first solo flight. Well, this is one of our more meaningful moments in our life, our first solo flight. And the way people cope with that stress, it's very funny. In my case, I was singing all the way. Fortunately, I was alone because I'm a terrible singer. So this is one of the ways that I coped with stress for this. We'll learn how to make good decisions, and it makes us smarter. Now, we will have a lot of ups and downs, and we're going to have to identify and manage our resources. At the age of 14, 15, or 17, our main resource, it's ourselves. You, as it is here in the slide. Our passion, our drive, and the people that support us, they are also a resource to let us there. Now with this, we'll have to manage it. They are instruments that are going to help us achieve our goal. And we'll gain knowledge on how best to use it. Now, when we are stressed, a lot of people go and do some exercise and they feel more relaxed. That's one of the resources that we have. We'll go and talk with friends, or we just ask for help from people. Asking for help, it's a sign of strength. It's a sign of intelligence. And also they claim it's exciting. Well, when you get a bunch of pilots talking together, it's like they're talking a different language from all the episodes that they have. People usually don't like to talk with a group of pilots because they don't understand. But what we're talking about is really exciting. It can lead to amazing careers. So you're not just a pilot, it's all of you that are there, all of your aspects. So from pilot, you can go into CRM, human factors, training, safety systems, and everything. So what you have right now in you, all of you, you don't have to eliminate it because you chose to be a pilot. You will be an elite group. Now, there is a lot of people that say that it's a glorified taxi drivers. No, it's not. It's glory. It looks easy because we dedicate ourselves, because we apply ourselves, because it is who we are. But they also say that the view is stunning. It is challenging, yes, but that's good. Imagine the first time you tried to ride a bicycle. It was challenging. You fell down. You got up again. You became more determined. You became more resilient. How did it feel the first time that you rode the bicycle without falling? It was an achievement. I still remember the first time I finally took off in a commercial flight in an aircraft full of people. It was an amazing day, that I can tell you. You gain a new respect from the world, and it's part of who you are. Until the very last day that we retire. One of the references that I have, I was doing a flight with this captain. He was a week from retirement, and he was still updating his manuals. So we would stay updated until the very last day. So you become the lifestyle. You become the choice that you made. And well-being has always been central to the success of this career. So my takeaway here is be curious, investigate what you want to become and become it now. Use the instruments and the techniques that the pilots use to achieve it. For instance, investigate a little bit on how decision-making process is made in aviation and use that in your personal life. Give focus to your well-being, how you're going to cope with rosters and everything. When you have, in the future, you have simulators and sessions at different times, how you're going to prepare for it. So start now, and by the time you achieve your dream, it will be second nature for you. And this is one of the ways that I've coped and maintained resilience and stayed. This is because this is our life. We're not on a straight line. Our life is up. It's like a roller coaster. So I'd like to leave you with a question. In this context right now, are we going down? Is aviation going down? Or are we gaining momentum for the next phase of aviation? The pilot needs to stay ahead of the aircraft. So when the event happens, he already knows what to do. So be ahead of the aircraft. Are we gaining momentum for the next phase? And what is the next phase? How am I going to adapt, adjust, and work with the next phase? And that's one of the ways that I've managed my career throughout these 30 years.
Thank you very much. I have a question for you. This is given that you integrate that into the students' lives from the very beginning. How well are they? How well is that received? Is that something? Do they imagine that they're going to come to flight school and get out their CRP5 computers and start doing weight and balance straight away, or does the other stuff come as a bit of a shock or a surprise?
I think we talk about it all the way through our programming, and it's so important to us that from the minute individuals make contact with Leading Edge, we talk about psychological well-being as a crucial part of everything we do. So actually, I don't think it's a massive shock when we start talking about it within the centre, and it's not heavy, it's not overloaded, it's not tough talking, but it's about giving students a voice, if you like. It's about a student being able to put their hands up and say, do you know what, I'm not okay today, but do that in a safe environment where they're supported. So it's not a massive shock. It's really well received. We've been really lucky with our students, and I think the whole schooling process at the moment very much leans towards this sort of behaviour and recognising tough days. So for me, we've talked about it a lot with my own children going through primary and secondary school. They talk about it a huge amount at this level. So why not within aviation? Why not after you leave school? It's massive to us. Our students are really receptive to it. And like I say, it's not shoved down anybody's throat. It's something that we encourage people to get involved in rather than sit in front of lectures all day.
And how does just thinking back through my engagements with aviation at various times over the years, I can imagine that there are certain groups of instructors who are very good at that, and other groups of instructors to whom it might be a slightly foreign concept. I'm sure that's not the case at Leading Edge Aviation Limited. But how do you bring all of your team on board, as it were?
But like I say, I mean, we've handpicked our team, from our years in the industry. And it's important that our well-being process isn't just for our students, it's for our staff as well. So the package is across the board, but we bring experts from outside to talk about well-being in addition to our instructors. So actually, as instructors, as support staff, we all get the same value from this offering. And I think that works brilliantly.
Fantastic. Valentina, I wonder, I accept that this is just a huge subject, and talking about it in a small presentation is really, really difficult. Have you got any kind of like practical tips that you can give to people watching either now who will be watching this on over the next few months, perhaps on YouTube? You know, what are they doing every day? You know, they can ask themselves if they're okay every day. And what if sometimes the answer to that is actually no? What's their next steps? Have you got any quick insights?
I think the most important things, Ian, it's what I practice for myself, is your social connections, the people around you. You know, it could be your family, it can be your friend, your colleagues. I think it's really important to build that engagement and that connection. You can do a lot of things at physical level. You can do a lot of things. You can do meditation, mindfulness, you can do physical exercise. Everybody has a different way of approaching this because we're all different. So everybody will pick a tool that is better for themselves. But I think ultimately we're human beings and we need relationship, we need the warmth, we need the connection. So when we find that person that we can actually relate to, that goes or went through the same things we went through, and we can talk to, I think we're going halfway through the road of either recovery or either attempt to being well in this very difficult climate.
Thank you very much. And Duarte, how about you? Have you got any top tips you can provide?
Yeah, it's easy as ABC, as they say in aviation. Assess how you are. See yourself, feel yourself. Usually, if you're getting an emotion, that's like a warning system from an aircraft. Something, your body, your mind is trying to tell you something. Listen to it. Assess where you are. Well, what can you do, and what you have to do now. What can you do next? Second is buy time. So buy time to see what you're doing. In an airplane, we say, oh, get into a hold and start holding so you can buy time and you decide what to do. Do the same in your private life. Call, postpone engagements, whatever you have to do. And then the third one is communicate. There are three things in this C: communicate, communicate, communicate with everybody around you and yourself. So easy as ABC.
Fantastic. Katie, I know you bring in professionals there, but I'm sure you've come up.
We're a family at Leading Edge. We like to talk, and let's be honest, the key thing to everything we've discussed this afternoon, all the important things that have come out, the key thing is to talk. And for us, that's what we do. You talk to somebody about the issues you're facing, you can be darn sure that somebody else in that room is having that same thought, just didn't want to verbalize it. So we encourage communication all the way through, particularly in times as tough as they are at the moment. People that seem to think they're okay, or you think the person sitting next to you is okay, they probably aren't. So look out for one another and just be kind.
Yeah, I think that's a great. I mean, it's hard to imagine pilots who would want to talk about aviation, clearly, because that never happens, does it? But yeah, no.
Well, it's happening more and more, and if there is an environment such as Katie is putting in her flight school, it becomes easier and easier. I founded a pilot peer support group, and because it was confidential and people felt secure, and the way they assessed this group was outside the company, was parallel to the company, we had a bit more people than we were expecting in the environment where we were working, because it was in company. So it's more and more, and it's more and more mainstream. It's getting there. It's starting to be noticed and to make a difference.
Well, I first got involved in events around aviation careers maybe 20, more than 20 years ago. And I have to say, probably in the last year to 18 months, maybe 2 years, is when the whole wellness integration with aviation and the support and the mutual support and the groups and various schemes have all cropped up, which is just a fantastic thing, because we all know that aviation, as your roller coaster example was a great example, an aviation career is not a straight line. An aviation career like investments, has ups and downs. And if you're getting into aviation as a career now and you're expecting 40 years of plain sailing with everything being in a straight line, then you might want to think about your career, because it won't be like that. No one knows what's going to happen in the next 10 years, but sure is, once we've recovered from COVID, 10, 12, 15 years in the future, there'll be something else. And you just need to plan for that and be aware of that at the beginning. And
if I may add, if you work in the financial markets, they've been going up and down, and you had the financial markets, the crisis about 10 years ago, and now it's in full bloom. And you've seen the same in aviation. It goes, like I said, up and down, but the trend right now, it's still upwards. And the world population is going to grow, so they will need airplanes pretty soon. So that's why I left with the question: is it going down, or are we gaining momentum for the next phase? Because it will be a different business model that we're going to see next. A more
and can it be both at the same time?
Also, Ian, can I just add just one small thing, because this is important. Yes, it's true now. Currently, we're talking about well-being because of the COVID-19 and what's happening. But I also think we need to be very careful to that, because the problem of well-being has existed for many, many, many years before COVID-19 and will continue to exist after. So I think that, for example, what the committee does as well, the European Aviation Wellbeing Committee, does connect people, but it's also we're trying to do is to reduce those gaps between regulator, organization, and individuals. So I think that the problem lies as well, not just about well-being as a word and being well and exercise and all those things, because that will die down. So the problem will remain within our collaboration with regulators, organization, and individuals, a cooperation, a commune taking responsibility for our well-being as individuals, for organization, and for regulators as well. So this, we need to be very careful, because yes, everybody talks about well-being, but it's just a word in the end. Unless we put some substance behind it, we really support those individuals that go to work every day and they feel that they're not well, they feel that they're extremely stressed at the moment. I live in the aviation industry on a daily basis. So I get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm going to work in an environment that is completely different than what it was just 8 months ago. It is very difficult. So I don't take well-being just as a word. I take it as a mission. We really need to change things within and with the help of organization, not going against the management, but working with management and working with regulators as well.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Katie, thank you very much. Valentina, thank you very much. Duarte, thank you very much. Hope to see you later if at all possible. And stay well, I should say. Ask yourselves that question. And remember ABC.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.